Coaches and consultants, I want to show you how to delete any negative beliefs or feelings holding you back in 10 minutes or less using the strange but effective erase and replace technique. And before we get started, here are a few quick questions to make sure you're in the right place. Are you a coach or consultant? Do you want to have a big impact on your clients' lives and make good money while doing it? And do you feel like something inside is keeping you from reaching your full potential? If you're like most coaches I know, here's the main thing you want. A thriving coaching practice filled with clients you enjoy working with, where you make good money and impact your clients' lives. And you want all this without losing your sanity or your balance. But most coaches I know aren't there yet. They're struggling to build their business, wondering where their next client will come from. While a little voice of doubt in their head keeps saying, if this doesn't work out, I might have to get a job. And here's the number one thing keeping coaches from creating the business of their dreams. In one word, mindset. And one of my mentors is a multimillionaire. He's been highly successful with businesses in different industries. And he says this all the time. Success is 90% mindset and 10% strategy. Now, you can disagree with those percentages if you want, but it's hard to argue with the bigger point. Your mindset is an enormous factor in your success. Now, before you think, oh no, here's another boring mindset talk. Everybody and their brother talks about mindset. Just bear with me because what I'm going to share in this training is different. I want to let you in on a little secret. There aren't many coaches who know what I'm going to share with you today. And you won't find it in most coaching programs, certifications, YouTube videos, or books. All right, let's see what you'll get from watching this training. Number one, the 2 T's of mindset change. Why most coaches are working on the wrong part of the brain and what to do instead. If you've struggled with a mindset issue for a while and you've tried different things in the past that didn't work, I'm going to explain why. I'll give you a couple key facts about the brain which most people don't know. And once you understand the 2 T's, you'll see the fatal flaw with most mindset techniques, coaching frameworks, and even types of therapy. Plus, what to do instead if you want to create a rapid mindset change that will last. Number 2, proof. Watch the magical erase and replace technique delete a coach's fear of failure in less than 8 minutes. Next, I'm going to prove to you rapid mindset change is possible. You'll see my favorite tool for getting rid of any negative feeling or belief holding you back, the erase and replace technique. Watch as a coach gets rid of her fear of failure in 7.5 minutes. Also, you'll see eye-opening research proving this tool is so effective, it even works with mental health issues like depression and anxiety. And finally, number 3, become your own mindset coach. How to eliminate 90% of mindset blocks on your own. At the end of this training, you'll see how you can become your own mindset coach. Once you know this skill, you can get rid of major mindset blocks like imposter syndrome, fear of failure, low self-confidence, and virtually any other block holding you back in no time flat. You can also use this skill to end procrastination, to shift out of worry into calm and confidence, to rewire your mindset around money, and so much more. In short, I'm going to show you how to take your mindset from being a liability holding you back to your greatest asset driving you forward into success you could previously only dream of. Now, before we go any further, let me take a second to introduce myself. My name is Josh Matthews Morgan, and 12 years ago, I started a coaching company called Learn Your Brain with my mom, Nita. And there's a picture of the two of us there. In addition to being my mom and business partner, Nita is a PhD psychologist. She taught classes in psychology and research methods for years before starting our coaching business, which gives us a unique perspective you'll benefit from on this subject of mindset. Together, we wrote a book on the psychology of high performance called Deliver. And just so you can see that, there's the book on Amazon. We've also created a couple training programs for coaches and business owners, including Tools of Transformation and Accelerate. And our work has been featured in various podcasts and summits, including Entrepreneur Hour, the Success Summit, and Leaders of Transformation, among many others. Now, Nita is no longer involved in the day-to-day business because she recently retired. Good for her. And that's why she's not doing this training with me today. But I'm carrying the torch and continuing to move the company forward. All right, before I get into the meat and potatoes of the training and tell you about the 2 T's of mindset change, let me tell you why I'm so passionate about sharing this training with you today. This is a discovery I made years ago about what separates successful business owners from the rest. You see, in the early stages of our business, we were coaching people using a different mindset program. It was pretty standard mindset stuff, setting big goals, focusing on what you want to create instead of where you are, that kind of thing. And over the years, we got to work with lots of different business owners in all sorts of fields. But over time, I started noticing something strange. I noticed there were 2 types of business owners. One group got incredible results after going through the program. It was people like Mike, who started 2 businesses at once. Then he sold one of them quickly and got the other business to a 7-figure run rate. Or Matt, who decided he wanted to write and direct a movie. So he raised $1.5 million and got it done. Or Cynthia, who took our training and doubled her small store in Greensboro, Georgia, then doubled it again. She became the most successful small business in the downtown area where she lived. It was awesome to work with all these successful business owners, but there was a problem. There was a second group of business owners who didn't get nearly the same results. They were still stuck after going through our program. And it bothered me for a long time. I didn't understand why some people were getting amazing results and other people weren't. Finally, we decided to go through a list of all our coaching clients. We were trying to figure out what the successful business owners had in common versus the people who were stuck. We boiled it down to just 2 key things. We call these the 2 critical areas of belief. And you must have these 2 areas of belief in place to build the coaching business of your dreams. Here's the first one: confidence. These ultra successful business owners had a sort of unshakable confidence in themselves. They didn't wait for perfection. They took imperfect action. They were okay with figuring things out along the way. And this confidence allowed them to charge full steam ahead and make decisions quickly and move quickly. Now, a lot of people think, well, I'll be confident once I get great results in my business. But that's actually backwards. Every one of these successful business owners became confident first and then had amazing results. It was the confidence which led to their rapid growth. There was another key difference between these 2 groups of business owners. Number 2, the successful people all enjoyed sales and marketing. And I use the word enjoy here deliberately. These business owners didn't just tolerate doing sales and marketing, they actually enjoyed it. It was one of their favorite activities to do in their business. Now, they didn't all start out enjoying these tasks. Sometimes they needed our help to get there. But they ended up embracing sales and marketing before they got their results. You see, most coaches I know struggle with belief in one of these 2 critical areas, or both. They're attracted to being a coach because they have a passion for helping people. They don't just want to make a ton of money, but they also want to change people's lives. But they lack belief in themselves, or they have blocks around marketing and selling, which keeps them from building their business with confidence and ease. And these blocks cause them to commit the number 1 mistake coaches make in building their business. You ready for it? They spend lots of time chasing after strategy. They go into learning mode. You don't need to find the perfect strategy. In most cases, you just need to implement what you already know. You can go very far with a decent but not perfect strategy and a rock-solid mindset. But if you have mindset blocks, the perfect strategy won't save you because you'll have a hard time doing it. Or if you do it, you won't have the ironclad belief in yourself you need to execute it at a high level. Okay, back to the early stages of our coaching business. It didn't feel fair to me that some business owners were having such big success and others weren't. I wanted to find a way to level the playing field and give everybody the chance to create amazing results in their business. So I became sort of obsessed with how to give people success programming and how to do it quickly. I started reading dense books from the top neuroscientists in the world. One of them was so complex it took me over a year to finish reading it. But I knew it had answers I was looking for. So I took lots of notes until it all clicked and made sense. I also became obsessed with how to make change happen quickly, how to create sudden mindset shifts that last. So I dove deep into little-known types of therapy to understand how to do this. Mostly therapies outside of traditional talk therapy or cognitive therapy, which is all the rage these days. And doing all this research helped me realize a lot of the conventional wisdom about coaching is wrong. Even most therapists are being trained on outdated methods which don't work that well. Look, it's not their fault. They just don't know about this newer research and these newer tools. So we started sharing these tools with our clients, and what I saw was amazing. Major issues like imposter syndrome vanished almost instantly. People went from self-doubt to self-confidence over the course of just a few sessions. I saw a coach who was avoiding doing the marketing and sales activity he knew he needed to do go from feeling cautious and afraid of sales to actually enjoying the process and making it his favorite activity. And this work helped me clearly see the missing piece in most mindset programs, and I want to share it with you now. It's what we call the 2 T's of mindset change. So now we get to it. The 2 T's of mindset change, why most coaches are working on the wrong part of the brain and what to do instead. Now, to explain this concept, I'm going to tell you a story about a coach who came to me looking for help. She said, "Josh, I'm in a funk and I can't seem to get motivated or focused. Mentally, I feel like I'm in a rut. I had to put on meditation music all day, spend 2 to 3 hours just trying to get my head right with affirmations, meditation, and exercise. I've also tried journaling. I seem to have lost my belief that I can ever succeed with my coaching business. I feel like something's holding me back." I explained why all those techniques weren't working using the 2 T's. Now, what I'm about to explain is the key to understanding all human behavior. There's a much deeper version of this, but since we're limited for time today, I'm going to give you the overview. There are 2 core systems in your brain that interact together, and the way these 2 systems interact determines your success. The first system is what I call the rational brain. The rational brain is the newest part of the brain. In brain terms, this is the cortex. It's in charge of something called executive function. So things like planning, goal setting, conscious thinking, that kind of stuff. Now, a rational brain is amazing, and it's truly what makes humans different from all other animals. No other animals have a cortex as developed and as specialized as ours. But when it comes to our behavior and the beliefs and feelings driving it, the cortex is not the most important system. This second system is far more important for your long-term success. We call it the emotional brain. Now, the emotional brain sits underneath the cortex. This lower system is responsible for lots of different things, including your habits, automatic behaviors, and, most importantly, your core beliefs and emotions. Now, here's a key brain fact most people don't know. All emotion gets generated below the rational brain in these ancient brain regions, what we call the emotional brain. The cortex on its own does not generate feelings. It's responsible for our thinking, or to use a fancy neuroscience term, our cognitions. Now, I want to clear one thing up. You might be asking yourself, isn't this all too simple, just 2 brain systems? Well, yes and no. In reality, the brain is incredibly complex, and there's still a lot we don't know about it. But it's a good way of understanding your brain. And don't just take it from me. We're not the only experts who break it down into these 2 parts. Dan Siegel is a world-renowned psychiatrist and the author of multiple books on the brain. He calls it the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. And there's Daniel Kahneman. He won the Nobel Prize for his work on cognitive biases. He calls it System 1 and System 2. And last, but certainly not least, Jaak Panksepp was a famous neuroscientist. He's often called the father of effective neuroscience, which is the study of how emotion is generated in the brain. And he said this about these 2 systems. We must be able to envision cognition and emotion as different, albeit interconnected, types of mental processing. Anatomically speaking, they're as distinct and interactive as our hearts and skeletal muscles. So to sum up, thinking and feeling happen in 2 different parts of the brain. They're run by completely different brain systems, with thinking primarily happening in the upper parts of the brain, what I'm calling the rational brain, and feeling happening in the lower brain system, what I'm calling the emotional brain. Now, before you say, yeah, I know this is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, this is not the same as the conscious and subconscious mind, although there's a little overlap between these terms. We prefer to call it the emotional brain because we're talking about the actual brain circuitry responsible for generating emotions. Also, using this term helps us understand human behavior at a much deeper level. because there are at least 7 distinct systems in the emotional brain. I don't have time to get into all of this now and explain each system, but many of the systems in the emotional brain share overlapping circuitry. This means they rely on many of the same regions of the brain, such as the amygdala, and in particular a region called the PAG. This can get complex quickly, but let me explain in simple terms how these two systems, the rational brain and the emotional brain, interact. Because most people, even most coaches, don't understand this basic fact about our brains. And this brain fact is crucial if you want to know how to maximize your productivity, among other things. And here's the general idea. There's a seesaw effect in the brain between these two systems. When one is in charge, the other is more quiet, and vice versa. So, during moments of heightened emotional arousal, the rational brain is relatively quiet, and the lower emotional centers of the brain are activated, so feeling is more prominent during those times. This explains why strong feelings can impair or narrow cognitive processes. Because remember, the rational brain is responsible for what we call thinking or cognitions. Anyways, let me explain how this affects your life. Have you ever been trying to get work done and something happens that makes you angry? Then you try to go back to work, but you're having a really hard time focusing. Your mind is still spinning in the angry mode. It's because of this seesaw effect. Anger in your emotional centers has turned off your rational brain, and it makes it hard to think clearly. The same thing happens when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed. The thinking regions of your brain are turned off in that moment. That's why it can be so difficult to focus if you have strong negative emotions coming up. Good luck trying to be productive and get work done when you have strong feelings invading your mind. Now, the opposite is also true. When your rational brain is more activated, the emotional centers are more quiet. Think about the times when you're focused and knocking through your to-do list. Your rational brain is in charge, and your emotional centers are less active. This is why if you want to become truly productive, mastering your emotions is so important, because strong feelings, especially negative feelings, don't go well with productivity. And it's another reason why the skill I'm going to share with you in this training is so important. Because without it, you could have strong feelings like anger or overwhelm come up and throw off your whole day. But the good news is, once you have a tool like the erase and replace technique to rapidly shift your feelings, you can stay on track with your tasks, even if your to-do list is so long that normally you'd feel up to your neck with stress. All right, here's one more key brain fact most people don't know. These two systems are not equal in strength. Feelings have a much greater influence on your thinking than the other way around. Why? Because the connections from the rational brain to the emotional brain, or from the top down, are much weaker than the connections from the emotional brain up to the rational brain. In other words, your thoughts don't influence your feelings that much, but your feelings strongly influence your thoughts. Joseph Ledoux, who's a famous neuroscientist, explained it this way. He says, "This may explain why it is so easy for emotional information to invade our conscious thoughts, but so hard for us to gain conscious control over our emotions." So now you understand how these two basic brain systems work. This helps lay the foundation for what we call the 2 T's of mindset change. Generally speaking, every mindset strategy can either fit into one bucket or the other, one of the 2 T's. The first T is what we call training. I'll explain training strategies first because this is what most of the world is doing. And most training approaches are what we call top-down approaches. They're trying to do one of 2 things. Number 1, change your feelings by changing your thinking. For example, this is what affirmations are all about. You're trying to consciously repeat the same thing over and over again until hopefully you feel different, right? That's what you're going for. Changing your feelings by changing your thinking. This is also what many of the most common types of therapies like CBT are trying to do. They're trying to get you to change your perspective by getting you to think differently, right? Changing your thinking up top. Now, this type of training doesn't work very well, as I've already explained, because the rational brain doesn't have much ability to change your feelings. There's also a second type of training strategies that are a little different. These exercises are designed to control or regulate your emotions. With these types of exercises, you're training the upper part of your brain to have greater control over the lower part, so you can regulate or inhibit the emotions below. For example, this is what meditation is all about. Meditation is really about making the rational brain stronger, right? Strengthening that upper part. You're using the deliberate attentional centers of the brain to get you into the present moment. And sure enough, Longtime meditators have increased growth in part of the rational brain called the MPFC, which is very linked with attention and control of emotion. Now, this part of the brain is actually bigger and more developed in meditators. It's pretty cool. But there's a big downside to training strategies. Training strategies rarely change the core beliefs and feelings in your emotional brain. They're just not designed to create this type of change. And that's why training is not enough. Remember back to the coach who was struggling with motivation? She was doing things like meditation, gratitude journals, etc. And these are all top-down training strategies. Look, you can't blame her for doing all this stuff. Most of the world is using training strategies to try to change mindset. Most mindset coaches are doing this, and even the most common types of therapy are top-down strategies. Now look, I'm not slamming training. There's huge value in doing training exercises. In fact, I do training exercises like meditation and gratitude journaling every day. I believe in them, but they're not enough to get you where you want to go. Because training won't change your core programming in the emotional brain. And it's those beliefs and feelings down there which determine your success as a business owner. You can't just meditate your way to success if you've got negative beliefs and feelings in your emotional brain. Because what happens when the feelings are so strong, they break through, like the coach in my example. Right? She had strong feelings like discouragement and self-doubt that were breaking through and coming up to the surface. And if these feelings are strong enough, it doesn't matter how many training strategies you use. Look, if you only have one takeaway from this training, let it be this. Most people don't get results with their mindset because they're doing the wrong types of mindset exercises. They're working on the wrong part of the brain. That's what we were doing with our first coaching program. It was a lot of training stuff. And over time, we realized no wonder some business owners were successful with our first mindset program while others weren't. The ones who were successful already had positive beliefs and feelings in their emotional brain, right? They already had that going for them. So the training they were doing was adding fuel to the fire they already had burning. On the other hand, the business owners who weren't seeing results all had negative programming in their emotional brain. And even with all the training exercises they were doing, it wasn't changing their core programming at this deeper level. So they continued to be plagued with self-doubt, or they continued to struggle with other blocks around building their business. It wasn't until we started to focus on this second type of mindset change that we started getting everybody amazing results. And if you really want to change your mindset, you have to do the second T. Drum roll, please. Transformation. Transformation strategies are very different. With transformation, you're changing the content of the emotional brain by altering the beliefs and feelings stored at this deeper level. These approaches tend to act directly on this lower region of the brain to create change, to go from a negative state to a positive state. Now here's the cool thing about transformation. Most transformation strategies have what's called a bottom-up effect. When you change the beliefs and feelings down below, change them to positive, it often causes sudden changes in your rational brain, so your thinking changes too. We see this all the time with the erase and replace technique I'm about to show you. People will often say, wow, I not only see the world differently, but I feel differently too. Here's another big difference. Unlike training strategies, which you have to do over and over again to see results, when you do transformation correctly, the shift can happen in an instant and often leads to permanent, radical mindset change. We call this rapid transformation. It's experiencing a profound and sudden shift in the emotional brain. This is how you can go from feeling plagued with worry and self-doubt to feeling calm and confident. It's how you can give yourself the same success programming those other business owners had in no time flat, using rapid transformation. Now, rapid transformation is something I've dedicated my life to understanding and doing. But here's the sad thing. Most people have never experienced this type of transformation, so they believe mindset change has to take a long time. But that's only because everyone is using training strategies. And if you want to experience rapid transformation, you have to use tools that specifically target the emotional brain, like the erase and replace technique I'm about to show you. So let's get to that now. Proof. Watch the magical erase and replace technique delete a coach's fear of failure in less than 8 minutes. Now, I know it may be hard to believe that you can get rid of a negative feeling or belief in less than 10 minutes, especially if it's one you've been struggling with for a while. So I'll prove it to you. In a second, you'll see a demonstration of the erase and replace technique. And you'll watch a coach delete her fear of failure in around 7.5 minutes. Now, before I show you the demo, I need to tell you the official name of the erase and replace technique. It's more commonly known as Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT for short. In our company, we use both names, EFT and the erase and replace technique, because that's what you can do with it. Erase any negative feelings or beliefs and replace them with positive feelings and beliefs. But it gets even better. You don't have to take my word that this technique works. Since I first discovered EFT 15 years ago, it's been researched in depth on all sorts of issues. I want you to see this research to ease any concerns you may have, like I did, about it looking weird or strange. Because it involves tapping on different points on your face and body. And if you've never experienced it before, your first impression will probably be, this is BS, there's no way this works. But it definitely works. Check out the results of this recent meta-analysis done on EFT. If you're not familiar with what a meta-analysis is, this is where they take a bunch of studies and look at the results together to see whether a particular tool or intervention is effective or not. The results of a meta-analysis are usually considered stronger evidence than individual studies because it's looking at all the data from those studies. Also, for context, the researchers are using something called effect size to measure how effective a tool is. As this chart shows, a large effect size is around 0.8, if you see that on the right. And a very large effect size, meaning it's incredibly effective, is around 1.3. Remember those numbers, 0.8 and 1.3, as I show you this amazing research. Check out the results of this meta-analysis on EFT for depression. Now, if we drill into the results section, look at the effect size. The researchers said that the effect size for EFT, 1.31, was larger than that measured in meta-analyses of antidepressant drug trials and psychotherapy studies. So this meta-analysis is showing EFT is more effective than both drugs and psychotherapy for treating depression. That's pretty amazing. Here's another meta-analysis done for anxiety, which is something I know lots of coaches and business owners struggle with. So they said that the effect size for the EFT treatment group was 1.23. Remember, anything above 0.8 is considered large, and 1.3 is very large. So the effect size of 1.23 means EFT is a very effective tool for treating anxiety. All right, one final cool thing from the research. These are brain scans done on a person with generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. I'm calling these the worrier's brain here, if you see that one on the right. And this just means they struggle with anxiety on a pretty regular basis. On the left is a so-called regular brain, or someone who doesn't struggle with anxiety. And on the right is someone with an anxiety disorder. The pink and red in the scans is a sign of dysregulated brain waves, or in official terms, they're out of whack, right? Not official terms, my terms. Look at how the brain waves are changing to a more normal pattern over time, after just a few sessions. And finally, look at how much more blue color there is at the end of the intervention. Pretty cool. So they've gone from having an anxiety disorder to having a pretty regular brain. Now, I get this question a lot. How does it work in the brain? And the honest answer is we're not 100% sure. Researchers aren't 100% sure about why EFT is so effective, what they call the neural mechanism behind it. But here's the leading theory. The tapping acts as a kind of counter-conditioning response. In other words, it helps the deeper structures of the emotional brain turn off the threat response and other negative emotional states. Basically, it helps rewire the deeper structures of your brain involved in creating feelings, so you can release the emotional charge of the negative beliefs and new thinking and feelings can emerge. All right, let's get to the video demonstration. I'm going to start the video right from when we identify the feeling to tap on. Let's go to that right now. So what number is that? I'm afraid of disappointing myself and my loved ones.
10.
10, okay. Okay, good. It's a strong feeling. Now I'm going to speed up the video so you don't have to sit and watch all 7.5 minutes as we do the technique. I don't have time in this video to break down all the steps of EFT and to tell you exactly how to use it. Right now, I just want to show you what's possible with this tool and how quickly it changes feelings. But if you want to see the steps, I'll be happy to send you a free training video walking you through the exact steps for how to use this amazing tool. There are a bunch of free videos online with people walking you through it, but I'd rather you get the steps from me because some of them teach steps which aren't as effective. Just send me an email asking for the Steps of EFT video or something like that, and I'll be happy to send it over to you. My email address is josh@learnyourbrain.com. That's josh@learnyourbrain.com. And you can also find it right below this video. But don't send me an email until you finish watching this entire training first, because I want to share something even more powerful with you. All right, now watch what happens next after the tapping process. All right, so let's check back in. I'm afraid of failing and disappointing myself and my loved ones. How strong is that?
I don't believe that.
Okay, well, you don't have it anymore.
I don't. Actually, no, I don't. I don't.
Cool.
I don't.
Awesome. Isn't that transformation amazing? She'd been struggling with this fear of failure and all the pressure she put on herself for a long time, and it was gone within minutes. That's the power of EFT. Now, I want to be crystal clear. This is not the only tool for doing transformation. There are other tools which create change in the emotional brain too. However, this is my favorite tool to share because it has some advantages over other tools. In all my years of doing this work, I've never found another tool with all of these same advantages. Advantage number 1, it's easy to use on your own. This is the main advantage. Most other transformation strategies require you to see a therapist or a specialized mindset coach, but not with the erase and replace technique or EFT. Once you know the steps, you can whip it out anytime a mindset issue pops up. And this puts you in control of your own mindset change. Pretty cool. Advantage number 2, it is very fast, 7 to 10 minutes until it's gone. As you saw from the video, you can shift basically any negative belief or feeling in less than 10 minutes. With an important caveat, from the time you pinpoint the belief or feeling until it's gone. Now there's an art and a science to identifying which beliefs to tap on, which I'll explain in a second. Advantage number 3, it creates permanent change at the root level. Usually, you only have to do the technique once, and if you use it correctly, you're free from that negative programming forever. Now, this doesn't mean you'll never feel a negative emotion again, of course. We're all human after all. But if you properly deal with the problem at the root level, it's rare for the same issue to come back again. Advantage number 4, it has a built-in troubleshooting mechanism. There's a built-in troubleshooting mechanism which helps you see if it's working or not. So you don't have to spend a lot of time guessing and hoping you're on the right track. That's pretty cool too. But it gets even better. The final advantage, it works on everybody. Some of the transformation-based tools don't work on everybody, like hypnosis, for example. There's research which shows hypnosis doesn't work on everybody. Some people are more hypnotizable than others. But with EFT, it works on everybody, as long as you're using the tool correctly. Now, this is a really important caveat. Sometimes people use shallow versions of EFT, so they don't get the results they're looking for. But I've never worked directly with a person who it just didn't work on. Now, this does get me to the one big disadvantage of using this tool. To become a true master of transformation, you have to know how to use it properly. And I don't just mean the steps of doing the tapping process. Actually, the steps are pretty easy to master. And there are a million different videos online teaching the mechanics of tapping, including different variations people have created. And here's a little secret about all those variations. They all work about the same. But in order for EFT to work, you must accurately identify the feeling or belief. And this is the difference between success and failure using this tool. Now, this can be a problem because most of our beliefs and feelings are subconscious. They're stored deep in the emotional brain and we're not even aware of them. So you could feel anxious, for example, but you might not know exactly what's causing it. Now, people think just because they know the steps of EFT, that's all they need. But that's really just the starting point. It's not the tool itself that's magic. It's how you use it. There's a whole skill set involved in creating the types of rapid transformations I'm talking about here. Look, if you don't believe me, here's the guy who created EFT, Gary Craig. He said this recently. He said, "There's a silent sea of disappointed people who get little or no results with EFT. And it's because almost everyone is teaching surface EFT." That's what he calls it. Look, I don't want you to be one of those disappointed people. I want you to have this incredible skill of shifting beliefs and feelings within minutes. Unfortunately, there aren't many people who are highly skilled at using this tool to create change quickly. And there are even fewer who can show you how to use it on your own, or how to use it with clients to get rapid transformations, if that's what you want. But let me tell you what's possible once you know how to use this tool correctly. Remember how we talked about mindset being 90% of success? Well, this skill of rapid transformation is my number one skill for business growth. Whatever your mindset issue, you can get yourself unstuck almost immediately. It's the key to giving yourself the beliefs you need to build the coaching business of your dreams. Just how powerful is this tool? Well, here's a list of some of the most common issues I've helped people shift using EFT. No matter the issue, it works the same way. There are subconscious beliefs and feelings behind every one of these mindset struggles. And once you can identify those negative feelings and beliefs, you can transform them using tapping. Here's a brief list. Fear of failure, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, procrastination, the 2 Ps, feeling overwhelmed, handling stress, lacking clarity, having confidence selling high ticket, which I know is big for coaches, resetting your money thermostat to a higher level, fear of judgment, blocks with sales and marketing, lack of confidence or belief in yourself, discouragement or feeling like quitting, lacking motivation, self-doubt, self-sabotage, and even anxiety and worry. Now let me speak for a second about issues like anxiety, because I always want to be honest in my communication. If you've been struggling with anxiety your entire life, are you going to completely get rid of it in 7 to 10 minutes? Probably not. It's possible, but not likely. To shift a pattern of anxiety, you'll probably have to work on multiple layers and beliefs. For example, this is another little secret. There are 2 different types of anxiety, and first you have to know which of the 2 types you're dealing with. This has to do with the different emotional brain systems I mentioned above. But anyways, let me tell you a couple stories of people I've helped to show you what's possible. Charlie came to me looking for help with his mindset. He'd been struggling with anxiety for pretty much his whole life, and he felt like it was holding him back in his business. He was also about to be a new father, so he had a powerful reason to make the shift. He didn't want to pass his anxiety on to his kids. Before working together, he described his life like this: a daily life filled with intense anxiety and stress. And this is what he had to say afterwards. In only a few short sessions, I was able to significantly decrease my anxiety and stress in all areas of life by using resources and tools provided by Josh. Pretty cool, right? A few short sessions. But it gets even better. Let me tell you a great story about imposter syndrome. I helped a coach who I'll call L. Now, L was struggling badly with imposter syndrome. His case was really interesting, actually, because he had actually accomplished amazing things in his life. In fact, without getting into the details too much, he had done something only a handful of human beings had ever achieved before. So based on his life's accomplishments, he had every reason to feel confident. But he didn't. He struggled with self-doubt daily, and it was holding him back in his business in a big way. I only had one session with L, and during this session, I helped him identify the root belief behind his imposter syndrome. We used the erase and replace technique to get rid of it, and after just that one session, his imposter syndrome was completely gone. He wrote to me after and said, "Josh, this was the breakthrough I was desperately looking for years. I feel a new energy in me, and I can see how the thought pattern, 'I am not good enough,' has kept me from achieving what I want." That's what his issue was. I'm not good enough, that feeling. I can focus all of a sudden, and even my marriage works better. Of course, I was thrilled to hear that. So here's another cool story. Sasha was having a tough time putting herself out there in her marketing because of old feelings from her past. Here's what she said to me after our session together. She says, "I feel like I've been set free. After my first session, I was able to conquer a fear of being seen and transparent about my past. This has made such a huge impact on my confidence and already on my business. I can honestly say it is more powerful than any traditional therapy I've ever been through." Here's somebody else who I helped make a major breakthrough in one session. She said, "My session with Josh helped me more than years of counseling. Years of counseling." Now, in a second, I'm going to explain how I can get better results in one session than years of therapy. But first, let me share one final brief story because it shows how fast and how dramatic the transformation can be. Dhruv was not actually a client of mine. He was working with a sales coach who asked me to give a presentation to his clients. Dhruv was brave enough to volunteer at the end of the presentation so I could give a demonstration of how the erase and replace technique works. Here was his issue. He lacked confidence in himself with selling. He knew a lot of techniques and strategies, but there was just a major feeling holding him back. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, so I can usually diagnose things very quickly. And in about 15 minutes flat, I helped him identify the belief holding him back, and we cleared it. 15 minutes total, right? Soon after, he got a job doing high-ticket sales. And in his first week on the job, he closed around $25,000 in sales. It was the single biggest week of anybody in the company. And he credited our brief session together with freeing up his mindset so he could do that. He also told me it was strange because I lived with this feeling and this lack of confidence my whole life. And I thought I would always feel this way. But that's the best part. Even if you've been dealing with a mindset issue for a long time, you can change it much faster than you think. So maybe you're saying, this all sounds good, but I have a hard time even identifying my feelings. Well, I have good news for you. There are simple techniques you can use to bring up subconscious beliefs and feelings to the surface. We give you those discovery techniques as part of our free method. So let me explain what that is real quick. This gets us to our final piece of the training. I want to show you how to become your own mindset coach, how you can eliminate 90% of mindset blocks on your own without having to hire a mindset coach and over again or spend years in therapy. You see, there's an art and a science to creating these types of transformations. I'm not any more talented than any other mindset coaches. I don't have any special abilities I was born with that other people don't have. The reason I can create such rapid transformations is due to two things. Number one, my experience using this tool on myself and with clients. Like I said, I've got around 15 years of experience using this particular tool to help myself and our clients create rapid transformations. This is the art piece, all of that experience. And the second reason I can do this so quickly is because of frameworks and techniques from psychology and neuroscience, which most coaches don't even know about. My years studying the emotional brain gives me a sort of X-ray vision into people's struggles, and this is the science behind it. Here's the cool part. We've taken all that experience, plus the years of study done with psychology, neuroscience, and different types of therapy, and simplified it into a 4-step process called the free method, F-R-E-E method. We call it that because once you know the steps and the tools in the method, you can free yourself from virtually any mindset block. It's also a useful acronym for the 4 steps in the process. Each letter stands for one of the steps. Now, once you get your hands on our free method, you'll be a true master of your mindset. Anytime you face a mindset block, you'll know how to immediately identify the root cause of the block and shift it forever within minutes. Even big issues like self-doubt or imposter syndrome. This method will not only help you get out of your own way in terms of building your business, but it will show you how to turn your mindset into your greatest asset. Like I said, helping people create rapid transformations is one of my biggest passions in life. And look, you can spend months reading the same dense books I read on neuroscience, and spend months studying and applying the specialized techniques and therapy books, and then spend years, like I did, working on your own mindset and with clients, learning the nuances of how to use EFT the right way for maximum results. Or you can just get the shortcuts from me. We've done the hard work for you and simplified it all into a system that gets results. You're not going to find this type of training and information anywhere else. Most other mindset coaches use superficial, fluffy stuff like affirmations or training approaches which take a long time to show any results. In fact, without naming any names, I even got the chance to work with the top mindset coach for one of the biggest training programs for coaches out there. Now, she had a lot of valuable things to say about how to build a business, but when it came to helping people transform the feelings holding them back, her mindset advice was pretty shallow and superficial. She was telling people they needed to change their perspective without showing them how. Look, even many of the people who are trained in EFT don't know this stuff. In the early stages of our coaching business, we were curious about getting certified in EFT. So I hired a certified EFT practitioner to help with a particular mindset issue I was facing to see if they were any good. Now, this was someone who had formal training in how to use EFT to get results. She even had an official certificate claiming she was an expert. But her approach was not helpful at all. She was using a shallow method of doing EFT. And I was thinking during the session, wow, is that what a certified practitioner can do? That's not very helpful. I think I'm going to skip the certification now. Anyways, let me explain something we do that's different from other mindset coaches. See, most mindset coaches want to work with you one-on-one to help you transform your mindset. Their program is set up to keep you as a lifelong customer and to create dependency because it's good for their business if you need to come back to them over and over again. But we do the opposite. See, I believe in giving you a skill you can use for life to shift your own mindset. I want you to have these tools and techniques so you don't have to depend on me or anybody else. And with our free method, you can shift at least 90% of the mindset blocks holding you back on your own. Now, in a second, I'll explain the 10% of issues you can't shift on your own. But first, let me tell you what's inside the free method. Here are just a few of the things you'll get with our training. Of course, you'll get our full free method for identifying and deleting any negative belief or feeling. The process is the same whether you're working on big issues like self-doubt or small things like sales call reluctance. It's a simple 4-step strategy you can use anytime you're facing a mindset block. You'll also get core training on the emotional brain, including the 7 systems of the emotional brain. Now, understanding these 7 systems is the key to understanding virtually all of human behavior. It helps answer the question, why do people do the things that they do? This training will give you a leg up on most other coaches. It will also give you a deeper understanding of yourself and appreciation for yourself. You'll also get the big 3. There are really only 3 core negative emotions which drive human behavior. Now, we have lots of different names we call these emotions, but they're all based on the same 3 emotional brain systems. You can think of the big 3 like the primary colors of negative feelings. It's a shortcut to figuring out what's in your way. And anytime I'm working with a client, I'm trying to figure out which of the big 3 is activated so I can help them shift the feeling quickly. You'll also learn how to use limbic language. See, there's a structure and a set of rules you need to follow to put words to your feelings so you can shift them faster. We call this using limbic language. We'll give you a simple set of rules so you can pinpoint your feelings perfectly the first try. There are also some really amazing discovery techniques for identifying your feelings. These are great for anybody who has a hard time putting words to your subconscious beliefs, which is pretty much everybody in my experience. Here are 2 of my favorites. Muscle checking. Get our secret weapon for immediately figuring out the exact wording of beliefs and feelings you need to work on. This is an amazing way of asking your body to give you answers about how you feel subconsciously. You see, chiropractors and kinesiologists use a different type of muscle checking to ask your body questions, but you can do it on yourself too. It takes the guesswork out of the process so you'll know exactly what you need to work on. Here's another ninja discovery technique. Sentence completion. This is one of my favorite tools for putting words to your negative beliefs. We'll give you 3 different sentence structures you can use to say out loud and fill in the blanks. And you'll be amazed at the beliefs that pop up to the surface with this technique. You can also use sentence completion with your coaching clients to quickly pinpoint their limiting beliefs. But that's not all. Here are some helpful bonuses we're giving away with the free method, including our EFT troubleshooting guide. This is a really cool 1-page sheet we created to help you troubleshoot when EFT doesn't work right away. It's based on our combined 30 years of experience, and it'll give you clarity about what to try next so you never get stuck in the process. We also share a couple advanced strategies for using EFT, including borrowing brain states. This advanced strategy is a way of getting yourself to link positive feelings like excitement to activities you don't want to do. We've used it to help our clients easily develop the habit of doing sales and marketing, for example. You can use this technique to melt away resistance towards anything you've been putting off doing. Here's another advanced technique, creating a mismatch experience. This advanced technique is all about getting results with EFT even faster, especially with those core beliefs and feelings at the heart of the biggest mindset challenges. It uses secrets from a field of neuroscience called memory reconsolidation, which is a fancy phrase that means updating old painful memories. And so much more. This is just the tip of the iceberg for what you'll get with our free method training. Now, if you're worried you don't have time to go through the free method because you've got a business to run and you're busy, well, don't worry. The entire training is only a few hours long. We've cut out all the fluff and filler and only shared the most important techniques and strategies. So you can go through it over a weekend and be on your way to creating rapid transformations in no time. So to sum up, The free method shows you how to rapidly transform your emotional brain so you can eliminate 90% of mindset problems at the root level on your own. Look, this skill of creating rapid transformations is one of the most valuable skills you can have as a business owner and a coach. With it, you can quickly have the same unstoppable confidence those ultra successful business owners had. Now, I know this may be hard for you to believe right now, but you're just a few belief shifts away from a major breakthrough. Imagine having the ability to shift your feelings at will. Thanks to this method, every day I wake up confident and excited to build my business. Even when I hit bumps in the road or things don't go according to plan, it doesn't shake my confidence at all. Now, you may be asking yourself, why 90% of mindset problems and not 100%? Well, like I said, I always like to be honest in my communication with people. And even with all the techniques in our method, there are two types of mindset issues you may not be able to solve on your own. The first type is capital T trauma. The only thing I don't want you to use this on is capital T trauma. Not because EFT doesn't work with trauma. There's actually a lot of research showing it does help tremendously with issues like PTSD. But here's why. See, I believe it's irresponsible to try to heal capital T trauma on your own. Now, if you're not sure what this term capital T trauma means, it's very simple. This is trauma that comes from experiencing something too big to bear. It includes stuff like sexual assault, witnessing the death of a loved one, horrible accidents, anything like that that's really too big to bear. I actually have personal experience with trauma myself, and I know from my own life, this type of trauma can overwhelm your senses and overload your system. You can re-traumatize yourself and cause all sorts of problems if you try to do this on your own, so please don't. I always want to advocate for the responsible use of this tool. So if you discover you have this type of trauma in your past that's holding you back, please don't do this on your own. You really need to work with a licensed therapist on those issues, ideally someone who is a trauma specialist. So to clear up any confusion about this, yes, you can tackle difficult life experiences with the free method, but capital T trauma, no. As long as you can handle the feelings when they come up again. All right, the other 5% is just stuff that you can't figure out on your own. See, sometimes there are issues that are just hard to figure out, even with all the tools and techniques in our method. You may have a hard time pinpointing the specific belief or feeling behind your struggles. That's because the beliefs behind our feelings get created without our conscious awareness, and they're stored at a deeply subconscious level. Now, these beliefs can be so ingrained and so beneath the surface, it can be tricky to figure them out on your own. And there's nothing wrong with you if you run into this problem, okay? This is why I prefer to work one-on-one with every new client, at least in the beginning, so we can troubleshoot these deeper issues and you can experience rapid transformation faster. So, you might be asking, okay, well, how can I get my hands on the free method and all these tools? Well, the first step is free. Just sign up for a free breakthrough session with me. In this session, I'm going to help you assess where you are right now in your coaching business and where you really want to go. Then we're going to figure out what's keeping you from getting there and make a customized plan for you to achieve your goals. You can click on the button below to sign up for a breakthrough session. Now, this is not a heavy sales pitch. The last thing I want to do is pressure someone to work with me. I truly, truly hate that stuff. And my philosophy with everyone I speak with is to be an invaluable resource for you, whether you work with me or not. See, I always play the long game. This means I always do what's in your best interest, not mine. For example, let's say mindset isn't the thing that's holding you back right now, and the thing you really need help with is marketing or sales strategy. If that's the case, I'll be happy to point you towards resources and people who are better qualified to help you. But if we both believe working together is the right next step, we'll create a custom program based on your specific goals. Again, this is based on your goals for your business. This usually means, just to give you an idea, some combination of working one-on-one and going through our free method program so you can see how to do the transformations on your own without me. I prefer working one-on-one with every client in the beginning and at least having one private session together because I can get you results so much faster. That way you can get immediate benefits from the program starting from the very first session. I can also help customize the tools in the program to what works best for you. So my goal with every client is for you to eventually not need me anymore. That's what I consider successful. Don't get me wrong, working with people one-on-one is super satisfying. But I'd much rather empower you for life by showing you how to do it on your own. Now, if you're worried this is going to be super expensive, don't be. I can create a custom program around pretty much any budget. And my goal right now is to get this method into the hands of as many people as possible, not to make as much money as possible. So if this sounds good to you, go ahead and click the button below to sign up for a free breakthrough session. All right, if you're on the fence, let me be clear about who this free breakthrough session is for. There are basically two types of people I'm helping right now. Number one is you're stuck and you want to experience transformation for yourself, stuck in some area of your life or your business. And the second type is you want to get unstuck and incorporate these strategies into your own coaching practice. In other words, become a super coach. So here's an example of the first type and what that might look like. I had 2 private sessions with Sharda. She also went through our free method training. Before we worked together, she was struggling to even get her business off the ground because of some childhood beliefs. But very soon after our sessions together, she reported back that she was actively building her business. And when I spoke to her again, she sounded like a completely new person, full of life and energy and confidence. It was really cool to see. So that's one example of what working together might look like, short and sweet and to the point. Let's look at the second type. If you want to use these tools for yourself and help your clients. See, if you're a coach helping people change their behavior in any way, these tools will be invaluable to you. Most of your clients are stuck because of some kind of programming in their emotional brain. They have some limiting beliefs or feelings that don't serve them. If you want, I can coach you on how to use these techniques with your clients to create these same types of transformations. This is what I did with my friend Phil. This is what I did with my friend Ryan. He's a coach and neuroscientist who was really skeptical of EFT at first. But he saw a live demo of me using it, which intrigued him enough to reach out about working together. Now, over a series of several sessions, I helped him identify and clear some of the blocks keeping him from building his own coaching business. I also taught him some of the nuances of using EFT during our sessions so he could use it with clients. And of course, he went through our free method training on his own too. Now he's using this tool with his coaching clients to help them create transformations in their lives, which is awesome. I love seeing it. So if either of these 2 examples sounds like you, go ahead and click the button below to sign up for a free breakthrough session. One final thing you should know to put your mind at ease. I'm one of the few people in this industry who offers a guarantee on everything I do. Unlike most other coaches, I even offer a guarantee for my private sessions. And the reason I can do this is because that's how confident I am about working with people one-on-one. I've never worked with someone without helping them create a major transformation quickly. Now, our guarantee is designed to reduce the risk to my clients as much as possible and take on the risk myself. And this makes me laser focused on getting results for you, and it helps me stay at the top of my game. But again, we can talk about all of this in our free breakthrough session. So, what are you waiting for? If you feel even a little inspired to reach out, go ahead and click the button below to sign up for a free breakthrough session. You deserve to feel excited about your business. I really want you to have these tools for creating rapid transformations. Every day you spend stuck in your business is costing you money. And every moment you spend feeling frustrated or discouraged is a moment when you could be making progress towards your goals. I want you to have the same unstoppable confidence I have and the same confidence I've been able to help my other clients create. You deserve to have the business and the life of your dreams, and I want to help you get there. So go ahead and sign up for your free zero pressure breakthrough session below. And if you're still on the fence about reaching out, check out more client success stories below too. You'll see stories from coaches and business owners just like you who have worked with us to create amazing results. I hope you've enjoyed this training, and I hope to one day be your partner in transformation. Thanks again for showing up to this training. I hope to speak again soon.